some of the tarmac to not grip up on his tires and just spinning out. But yeah, going to be a great race. It's going to be really sunny for the first part, but for the middle and the end, we don't know. It's randomized on the game. So we could have rain, we could have clouds, we could have anything. Going to be an absolutely scintillating race. We've got Vodka. Can he challenge the front three now that he's back up there? Big Sauce is going to be cutting through the field. I reckon Luke has some pace in hand as well to possibly get into the points. You really don't want to miss this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's looking like a sunny Grand Prix here. It's not all sunny for certain teams. Williams having a bit of a shocker there. And it's crazy to think of that, but I feel like Williams are going to be one of those teams that we see hugely improved this season. Possibly might even be the most improved constructor going into this season, other than Aston Martin. I was just checking the standings to see what kind of state of play the constructors left the first round in, and well, there's a number of teams still waiting for points, but that brings McLaren off of the zero list, and I think Haas will be hoping that they can be the next ones. As we get ready for the formation lap, the drivers pulling away from the grid. And this is going to be a very important practice start. And here's the strategies then. So soft to mediums or mediums to hards is what we're looking at. Around about lap 15 to 18 is the time that we expect drivers to be making those moves. Rillatorn starting on the hard tyres. He's got 3 medium charges behind him before the next hard starter of Arjan. And a couple of soft starters in Lee Goat and Big Sauce. 2 drivers looking to make an impact early on here. It'll be interesting to see how drivers like Big Sauce will find their way through the grid as Vodka has spun off here on the formation lap. So he's going to wait to get going again as Kalot's been disqualified from the session. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be the formation lap glitch that I mentioned previously, in which case we might have to reboot the lobby, but I think hopefully he's going to be able to rejoin from the grid. It looks like it for certain, but that will remain to be seen. Vodka now at the back of the pack. I don't want to say it was a strategic move to spin there, because I don't think it was, but there's a certain advantage to being the last one to the grid in the F1 game. A bit longer to warm your tyres up, and you just get to go through everybody, but the front of the pack now getting to the end of this formation lap. Rillatorn leading the way yet again. That's becoming a sentence that may start to get old eventually, but certainly isn't at the moment. He's a driver who's come up through the ranks of SFR and has hugely deserved its success. Kagoda, the former multiple-time champion, but former reigning champion for the last couple seasons, now with a job to do. FICO then pulling into his grid slot, as does Kagoda, as Rillatorn has already reached his. And the drivers planning how to line themselves up, as a number of drivers being disqualified here. So we may have to reboot the lobby, but we'll have to see. We wait for Vodka to get to his grid box, and we are ready to go racing here at the Austrian Grand Prix for round 2 of this SFR season. And the 5 red lights are out and away we go. It's a poor start by FICO. It's a great start by Kagoda. Rillatorn somewhere in the middle. It looks like he's going to keep the lead for now, at least, as FICO and Arjan going wheel to wheel through the first corner. A big shake there for Vodka. Lennart gets past and gains to position. A few movers and shakers. Sevenako down to last place as the drivers ascend the hill for the first time. Lennart looking like he's going to make a move on Arjan, but he's got to worry about FICO and his mirrors. It's side by side and wheel banging as FB also makes his way through. Both the Alpines in a bit of contact there. And Alex down to last. That looked like he was forced wide there. The 2 Alpines now to 4th and 5th, going wheel to wheel. And a dive bomb by Dan Edwin catches everyone napping. He's up to 6th place. An unbelievable start, but Lennart picking up a time penalty already for corner cutting and gaining a place while doing so. And before we've even finished one lap, we've got a time penalty. This is classic SFR after all, as Vodka now down to 9th after that opening melee. And the drivers all settling in for what could be a long race to come, especially for Lennart with that time penalty. And now they'll start to concertina up and think of the long game.
Yeah, bad starts for Vodka and Biggs and Arjan's FICO. Sorry, they'll be very disappointed. But yeah, I kind of expected FICO to challenge Rodatorn at the start, not have him drop down the order. Rodatorn on those hard tyres, this might give a chance for Kagoda to take the lead.
Yeah, he might come to forget that. I regret that rather, not forget it. He would want to forget it though, as FICO rejoined the session down in the 11th. So, not sure what happened with FICO there. He might have had a disconnection, but he's going to have some way to fight back. FB now the leading Alpine car as Lennart is swarmed by drivers. Ligo looking to make a move, but Lennart gets the position back as Haas look for their first points of the season, as do Alfa Romeo, as Max Martin is up to 8th place. Rillatorn leading the way from Kagoda still though, and we're about to have DRS enabled, and it looks like Kagoda might lead a race here for what I think is the first time this season off the top of my head. With the first time that it's at least not the net race lead. He's right on the rear wing of Rillatorn and he's lapping faster. The fastest man on track currently, Kagoda. He is a man on a mission to get himself into this championship battle early on here. It was a first round to forget, but here he comes then, Kagoda. Round the outside with DRS, takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix on lap 3. And what can he do on this medium stint? How long can he take it and what kind of pace can he set? Vodka looking to make some moves here, then he's going to need to climb his way back up the order one by one, but he needs to do it sensibly, and with these two in front of him squabbling, he might see an opportunity. Off goes Alex. Does Vodka go through? Just about. He gets the Aston Martin. He's going to look to try and get 7 here as well, but Alex in the straight line has gone back ahead of the Red Bull, and Kalor getting involved as well. Vodka in a bit of a swarm there of cars all around him, down in the midfield pack. And Big Sauce down 1 place, FICO down 11 places. 2 drivers there who will be looking to spend their afternoon making some overtakes and a bit of overtaking practice for them. Rillatorn still within touch distance of Kagoda, but Kagoda is still the fastest man on track.
Yeah, really disappointing for Vodka. He's dropped down to last now. I think he might have possibly had a bit of a moment because he's 3 seconds and he's pitting Torin.
He is into the pits. It's an interesting call by Red Bull there. Are they looking? It'd be too early in the season to be retiring the car, surely. And no, it doesn't look like they are. Just switching onto another set of the hard compound tyre. So I don't know if that was intentional to switch onto another set of hard tyres, but it's certainly what they've decided to do. And no front wing change either, so it won't be having to do with that. But either way, an early pit stop, our first pit stop of the race by Red Bull, as the other Red Bull, Rillatorn, is chasing after his championship rival from last year. And Rillatorn, well, I'm sure he'd be looking to be leading the race. I'm sure a bit of competition won't be doing him any harm either. And these two are sensational to watch. Don't miss a thing here. This could be about to get quite explosive. Rillatorn chasing down Kagoda as FB in P4, Arjan in P3, kind of in no man's land. 3 seconds ahead of the cars behind, almost 4 seconds behind the cars in front. But definitely better than FICO, who's currently down in 14th. He's also coming to the pits on the set of mediums, so likely to be moving on to set of hard tyres. Here comes Rillatorn then. Opts to not go for the move here against Kagoda. These two seasoned veterans are 2 champions of SFR. It's crazy to think with this many seasons in with only 2 champions. That was how commanding Kagoda was, and he'll be looking to take his championship crown back. Kagoda then defending smart. Rillatorn attacking in a smart way, just biding his time a little bit here as FB overtaken by Dan Edwin. Dan Edwin up to P4 here, the 2 Alpines chasing down the Papaya McLaren. And imagine Alpine are saying, you know, just hold station for now. Lennart does have that time penalty, but if his pace is better, they're going to want to try and open up that window to try and keep the position. That'll be very difficult for them to manage strategically, Tom, won't it?
It absolutely will. Just in the background there, we've seen FICO come out on the hard tyre the same as Vodka. And looking at strategy, Rillatorn, although he's in 2nd place, as FB gets a penalty, that definitely won't help. Both the Alpines now with penalties. It opens up the strategy a lot more for Rillatorn. He's on those harder tyres. He can choose whether he wants to go for a 1-stop or a 2-stop. For the 2 stoppers, what will indicate drivers picking that strategy is an earlier pit stop around lap 11 and lap 16. 1-stops, we'll start seeing them in around lap 17 to lap 21. So something to keep an eye on.
With a real team move there. FB made the dive up the inside, showed Dan Edwin his rear tyre, and then Lennart comes steaming on through. So Alpine, both Alpines making up the place on Dan Edwin, both of them having that time penalty though. But they'll be racing as if they don't have those time penalties. Just trying to keep that mentality strong down there in the Alpine garage. And it's Cookie looking to make a move here on Benny. A debutant versus a seasoned veteran of the series. Benny holds onto the position. He shows that the experience is key, but Cookie, with a real feisty attitude here. We'd love to see it on his debut in SFR F1. We'll be looking to make that move sooner rather than later. Are we getting towards the crossover point already for mediums? Runatorn with a great run. He makes the move back into the race lead then. Our pole sitter and sprint race victor looking for a clean sweep here. Goes back into the race lead, and is it time already to be getting off the medium tyres? That would seem maybe a bit extreme, but Mercedes gonna have to try something here.
Oh, there's a
yellow
big
flag in
crash.
sector 2, there's a huge pile-up once again, and Luke Mills is around, he's caught up in it again. Big Sauce going to get the penalty though for a collision with Test Will, and it's a safety car. So all those drivers who've pit already, Vodka and FICO, that is the worst possible outcome. But for Kagoda, this could open up so many windows. Rillatorn and the other hard starters won't have the same opportunity. But that time that you lose in the pit stops here, incredibly shortened. And for drivers with a gap behind them, such as Dan Edwin, such as Benny, a real opportunity here. And for Dan Edwin, Seven Echo rather as well. So drivers who have yet to make stops, every driver but Vodka and FICO then. But Kagoda into the pits, Rillatorn not into the pits. So that could be quite decisive here.
Yeah, who else decided to pit?
Mercedes
Everyone does.
For hards. Yeah, everyone, you're right, Tom. Everyone bar Alex has stayed out by the looks of things. So Alex and obviously Vodka and FICO, but lots of drivers opting to pit on this occasion. In fact, who are the only drivers who haven't? Let's have a quick look at that. So the only drivers who haven't pit are Alex, Dan Edwin, FB and Rillatorn, so as well as, no, just those four, sorry, up at the top, my mistake. As everyone else then comes into the pits, no, not even Vodka and FICO, sorry, that wouldn't have made much sense, I didn't think they would have done. But everyone apart from the top four then, who started on, well actually, interestingly, Dan Edwin and FB both started on mediums, opting to stay out, so they're making the decision that they can make those medium tyres last for about as long as Alex and Rillatorn are going to have to make their hards last for, as Alex now up 14 places, but of course that pit stop not having been taken will be making a huge difference. This will benefit Rillatorn, you have to say. He will have clear air, and he's obviously comfortable on those hard tyres. Kagoda onto hard tyres that we don't know what it's going to be like. He won't know quite what it's going to be like. And he's got traffic in the way in the terms of slower cars such as the Alpine, McLaren and Aston Martin. How do you see this one playing out, Tom? This strategy game is really quite intriguing.
This is really interesting, Tor, and this is classic SFR. We've had a safety car, we've had drivers such as FICO and Vodka that have benefited. They're on sort of a weird in-between. There's some drivers that have pitted, some drivers that haven't at all, as we've got Max Martin. He'll filters back down. He's sort of been around the top 10, but he's going to drop right to the back now. What tyres does he put on? And he has to pit because, well, you see there, he's replacing a front wing. He'll go onto the medium tyres. What we're going to be looking out for here, Torin, is those hard tyres. Can they last to the end, the drivers that have just pit? It's going to be a hard ask, because we would expect that the soonest that you could pit to take those hard tyres to the end and be on a preferable strategy option was lap 17. So I would not be surprised if we see a lot of these drivers pit again. So those that haven't pit and have taken that track position, such as your FB and your Dan Win, I don't actually think it's a bad call, because I got a feeling a lot of these drivers are probably going to have to pit anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Safety car in this lap. And yeah, Runatorn has a few cars in between himself and Kagoda, but Kagoda has the advantage of 7 lap younger tyres. This is going to be a brilliant race. You do not want to miss this.
Absolutely. We've got 26 laps to go when the safety car peels in, which will be the end of this lap. the lights off on the top of the safety car. And this, the drivers to watch out for, really. Got FB and Dan Edwin, 2 drivers there, in midfield cars, in inflated positions, but Dan Edwin, with the advantage, he doesn't have that time penalty. Lennart has served his time penalty, as have many of the drivers. Only Kalot and FB with penalties still hanging over them as Rulatorn once again goes early. Has somewhat caught FB napping. And Dan Edwin's going to have a great opportunity here. Kokoda's going to have an opportunity to make an early move on Alex. Does move to the inside, can't make anything happen. Dan Edwin can't do anything with FB. Of course, it'll be a couple of laps before we get DRS enabled here on the restart. Same rules as a regular race start. And no moves further back either, as Rulatorn already building a gap up to those cars behind. As Kokoda looks to make a quick move. Oh, the spin already in contact. And that is Lennart and FB around. Oh, and more contact behind. There's another collision to that corner. And it's Ligo and Dan Edwin who are the biggest losers of it. Rulatorn having a bit of a moment there on the exit. Kokoda back up to P2 then, but Arjan behind on medium tyres of the same age. That could be an interesting battle to come yet.
It could, and this is so important for Kokoda. He's had the midfield drivers moved out of the way, 2 seconds behind Rulatorn now.
Yeah, Rulatorn will know exactly how crucial this is to the race. He is one of the few drivers not to make a pit stop as FICO gets past FB, as does Luke Mills, and FB going quite slowly here by the looks of things and peeling off into the pit lane then on the first lap after the safety car period. That will have been Alpine's worst nightmare. They've still got Lennart and P4, but a great restart for Aston Martin, 5th and 6th on the road.
Absolutely brilliant, Torin. The team that have only got 1 point to their name so far, they could add to that tally as Arjan is past Kokoda crucially.
And Lennart looked like he's going to get involved in the mix there as well. Kokoda going to be thanking his lucky stars here that DRS isn't enabled. The Aston Martins are looking to go wheel to wheel here as they swap positions. So Boss Cookie getting swapped with Alex. He is on the mediums, fresh mediums at that as well. Aston Martin looking to unleash the potential of that and try and get past Lennart. They must think that Alpine are going to be one of those teams that they're competing with in the Constructors this year. As Rulatorn now 2.3 seconds to clear of Arjan. Kokoda staying quite well back to Arjan still, staying in DRS, but Lennart is gaining on the same set of tyres. So Kokoda and Lennart in the same sort of strategy window as we speak. As DRS is enabled, Rulatorn won't have to worry about that. He is streaking out ahead here, and realistically this could be a repeat of Abu Dhabi. Some pressure on Rulatorn until he gets his break, but he does have to make a pit stop. Doesn't have to, it has to be to a different set of tyres as well, so he can't go to another set of hard tyres as per regulation. So that could be interesting as to what strategy Red Bull decide to do and when they decide to do it. Lennart trying to catch up. FB has picked up another penalty, and this time it's for speeding in the pit lane. Unbelievable for Alpine, and for FB a nightmare. It's Kokoda now looking to get, he's got the pressure on from behind, and they're both putting pressure on Arjan. Kokoda dropping back a bit here from Arjan, and Lennart, it looks like there's some seriously impressive pace here. Could make a move on Kokoda on the next lap perhaps, but Arjan needs to cut down that advantage that Rulatorn has, and he has done so. Half a second already, so back down to 1.5 seconds the lead. Rulatorn's tyres will be getting into their prime now, you'd have to imagine, or towards the end of their prime at least. Their lifespan will be continued a little bit by that safety car. But nevertheless, here we go then. Will there be a move here? Will it be Kokoda? Will it be Lennart? Who will be attacking? Who will be defending? As Kokoda has to file in, and as does Lennart. So no moves here. But the second DRS straight now coming straight up as we've got a move there. Benny and Vodka going wheel to wheel. Benny in the Haas making the move on the Red Bull. And these three staying station. But Big Sauce making a move as well on Kalot. Benny up into the points. Vodka going to come back at him here though with DRS and ease past the Haas. As you'd expect from the Red Bull, he's got Alex up next on his radar. But behind, Big Sauce and Kalot still wheel to wheel. And it looks like Big Sauce has made that move happen now. Kokoda still further behind Arjan than Lennart is to him. But the Mercedes looks like it's more effective using the DRS than the Alpine, but all three of them crucially gaining and gaining on Rillatorn here. Arjan's got a shorter tyre span that he can use up on those medium tyres, so he's looking to get them into the right window, get them warmed up, get them rubbered in, and he's now into Rillatorn's DRS, Tom. Could this be a four-way battle for the lead from four different constructors?
It really could, and this is all going to depend on when Radatorn chooses to pit. Is he going to want to fight it out with these guys, or does he know that he's just going to end up losing time on track? That Ferrari has absolutely come alive to be able to jump up from 6th place into 2nd on those medium tyres. It seems to be working really well, but I'm actually very impressed with how Kagoda and Lennart have been able to keep those hard tyres alive. Vodka, as you've correctly said, Torin, up into 9th from 12th after the safety car restart. Boss Cookie doing a great job as well on those fresh mediums. Other names to look out for, FICO coming through on actually pretty used hards. 9-lap old, remember he pit just before that safety car, so they're not as worn out as Radatorn's hards, but they're still far from fresh. Luke as well, he's kind of been bouncing around this race, was doing really well at the start, dropped down with some contact at the second corner. He's now up into the 7th on 7-lap old mediums, as we've got a battle here. What's going on? And it's a battle for the lead. Arjan up the inside. There's contact.
Yeah, wheel to wheel, wheel banging away. Here they go again then. Arjan will get a second bite of DRS. Rillatorn not going to dive it down the inside on the hard tyres. That would be a mistake. Oh, nearly contact between the two. Kagoda trying to force that door open where Rillatorn's trying to lock it shut. And he just about keeps position. I was going to suggest, Tom, I think Rillatorn's best decision here to try and, you know, extend that shift on the hard tyres is just to sit in DRS, to let one car through and really just slot into a DRS train. It'll help his lap time as he goes along and extend the shift for a bit longer, and that's exactly what it looks like he's going to do. But I would imagine Kagoda will be eager to get past, and Kagoda will make the move. Surely not into the first corner. He'd lose all the DRS advantage, but he does have to stay mindful that Lennart is behind him, and Boss Cookie is reeling in all of them as FICO, his recovery drive continues. Here comes Kagoda then on the outside of Rillatorn. Rillatorn's going to go to the inside of Arjan though. Oh, and Arjan has to break late to try and defend. Goes wide, doesn't have DRS this time. Rillatorn and Kagoda and Lennart all will though, as they go single file. Kagoda not able to get the toe that he would need to make a move. Rillatorn they're able to make a move on Arjan. And all their lines pretty compromised. No one really got an ideal line through there. As FICO makes the move on Boss Cookie behind though. So FICO up to P5 now, and he'll be looking to catch up to this train too. Arjan still commanding the lead of this race though in the Ferrari. Kagoda will be getting frustrated. Lennart will be getting excited. That will be a tantalizing prospect for Alpine. Could they be in the shout of a race win here today?
They absolutely could, Torin, right on the back. And yeah, really, really good, especially on those hard tyres. But we've got our answer, Torin. Is Radatorn just going to stick in second place and harvest the DRS? Absolutely not, as Benny gets a penalty. Other stuff that's been going on, that can hold on a second.
Kagoda's gone for a dive to the inside. Almost two cars in one there. Lennart now on the inside of Rillatorn. Can't make the move happen, but can Kagoda in two DRS sections make up two positions as he looks to reel in Arjan here. Doesn't go for the dive on the hard tyres. That wouldn't have been sensible, but he'll just tuck in behind. So back to you, Tom, to give us an update on the rest of the field.
Yeah, Vodka's moved up into 8th place, and it won't be long until Big Sauce enters the points as well. Alex has dropped down the order as his tyres start to fade away, and we're seeing those two that are going to be coming back at the likes of Luke and Boss Cookie. FICO also, as you said, into 5th. He's already closed about a second on this league group, so I don't think it'll be long until he gets there on those hard tyres.
That was a big moment there for Arjan. My game has shut down entirely. So I will look to reboot the lobby. Tom, it is going to be up to you for the time being.
That's absolutely fine, Torin. And there's a move for a lead as Kagoda gets into first place. great move. He's actually led a decent chunk of laps around this Styrian circuit. Now Arjan in second place. Rolatorn still holding on as Boss Cookie gets back in front of FICO. That was not in the script. Definitely not. And we've got Arjan round the outside. Does he make the move? No, stays behind. You got to be a risky man to go and attempt to move round the outside of Kagoda. Lap 18, halfway through the race. Does anyone decide to pit? These tyres, for some of these drivers, such as Rolatorn, are surely going to be screaming in pain. Alex, as well as Big Sauce, is into the top 10 now in 10th place. He'll make up a position on Benny with that 3-second penalty. Rolatorn still just staying behind DRS, and we've noticed that with all his... Arjan's gone wide, he's gone wide. Rolatorn, he's moved up a place now into second, but importantly, Kagoda is almost out of DRS. As Lennart, does he go for a move at turn 2? No, just stays behind for now. As we've got a spinner in the back, Kalot, he spun out to add more woe with that 3-second penalty. On top of that, Big Sauce also passed on track into 9th place. And what's happening here? Boss Cookie still fighting FICO as Luke Mills has, I think, made about 6 seconds up. That is absolutely incredible from the Williams driver. Obviously, these two battling away very hard. FICO, he's lost about a second now to that lead group as these two continue to fight away. What a rookie performance from Boss Cookie in 6th. His teammate dropping out of the points with those slightly more worn tyres. And we should hopefully be getting Torin back into the lobby soon, as the battle continues on at the front, and it continues on for 6th place. Aston Martin, 1 point to their name of the championship. Williams, 10. Both of those teams would like to add to their tally. And Ferrari are not that far ahead of Mercedes. Only 2 points, so it would swing in their favour if it was to end like this. Rolatorn is right onto the back of Kagoda, and there is nothing in it. Again, this has been a fantastic race. Lap 20 of the second round of the SFR Championship. And is it me, or does those clouds look slightly more ominous? We always knew it was going to be a bright start to the race, but it seems it's becoming a lot more cloudy now. Maybe there will be a sprinkling of rain towards the end of the race. Who knows? You'll have to stay and watch to find out. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, and it's the McLaren of Seven Acco. He spins again and has a little bit of trouble getting that power down. Unfortunate for Seven Acco, whose hards will probably be screaming in a bit of agony now after that. And oh, Rolatorn almost into the back of the Mercedes of Kagoda. That was far too close for comfort for, I think, either driver. Going down to the downhill braking zone of turn 3. Does Rolatorn fancy going down the inside of Kagoda? He jinks to the inside. And it's going to be actually a pretty routine move. You think that, but it's not, because Kagoda round the outside of Rolatorn. What a brilliant move to hold on. Shows his mettle, but he's just missed the apex of the first of the double left-handers. Rolatorn right on his tail. That's brought the Ferrari of Arjan and the Alpine of Lennart back into this fight. FICO a little bit further back as Torin thankfully is back. I'm almost out of breath. This is fantastic racing.
You did a fantastic job covering, Tom. Thank you for that. As I say, gone a bit longer than would have been ideal, but here we go then. Rolatorn is behind Kagoda. I haven't really been able to keep track of what's been going on. Sounds like a lot though, Tom. Still no time penalties though, which is good to see. Rolatorn still out on those hard tyres, which is a surprise, but he's still making them work. He goes to the outside of Kagoda. Can Kagoda defend? Has he got anything left to give? No, he lets the Red Bull go sailing on through to strategically trying to get DRS here. He will succeed in doing so and go for the move back on Rolatorn. And I'm assuming it's been a lot of this going on, Tom, while I've been away.
It has. It's been to and fro. The front two seem to maybe have a bit of pace to gap Arjan and Lennart, but they just keep on fighting. It means that these two are staying within the fight. What a job by Lennart in that Alpine to be able to stick with these guys. Fico's dropped a little bit further back, but ultimately Boss Cookie and now Luke Mills is on his tail, a little bit stagnant behind them with Vodka and Big Sauce as Kalok gets a 3-second time penalty.
Well, Relatorn well and truly whispering those tyres in here. We've gone to lap 23 of 26. This has been non-stop action, and it's almost contact. Relatorn and Kagoda once again. As the VSC is deployed, I can't quite figure out why that is, but Benny's going a bit slowly. I think Benny might have been looking to go into the pits there. Of course, the pit lane shuts under VSC, but a bit of a moment to catch our breath and take stock of just where we are. Benny and Alex switching positions, so I think maybe a bit of confusion. Oh, FB. No front wing. That will likely have been the cause of the VSC then, I would imagine. Not sure where he's lost it, but there's got to be some debris somewhere. And he's about to be the first of the lapped cars here. A drive-through penalty for FB as well for speeding under the safety car. And now blue flags for the Alpine driver. And that is not what we would have wanted. Lapped by his teammate as Lennart still in the competition to try and sneak a race win here. But Arjan still with that tyre advantage, but is it too late now for the mediums to have an advantage? We're getting into the ideal window really for the hards to be on their best performance. Relatorn still going here, and Kagoda picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. His multiple warnings have run out, and now Relatorn would inherit the race lead, and surely there's no way Kagoda can keep the race win here with the time penalty. Relatorn, to make matters worse, making the move. Arjan too far back to think of the same, and Lennart Dixon fourth. Kagoda will fight this one to the very end, no doubt, despite the time penalty. He won't let that one dampen his spirits. Gets DRS once again on Relatorn here. Can he make a move, or is he too far back this time? Oh, he's gone for the move, late braking. Wheels banging away, Relatorn thrown offline. Oh, nearly a spin there. These two, the gloves well and truly off. It's like last season all over again. As Relatorn keeps the lead, Kagoda now on the inside line, a brilliant switchback, but will it make a difference? No, Kagoda has to wait up there. And he's fallen back into the hands of Arjan, who's going to go for a move here when it looks a bit. Oh, and the rain is starting to fall as Kagoda carries on, but Relatorn and Arjan crucially coming into the pits. This is going to be a split strategy, Tom. A classic SFR twist. Will it be enough rain to constitute intermediate tyres, or can the drivers carry on their current tyres? It's looking like enough to convince Relatorn and Arjan both onto the intermediate tyres. Almost 10 laps to go here. Surely it's a given that they've got to make the move, but it's going to depend. Is there enough grip? Oh, around goes Boss Cookie. Fico spinning him, or half spinning him rather, as he gets to carry on, fight another day. And the drivers now peeling off into the pits in their masses. Got one of the McLarens, that's Dan Edwin and FB, making the pits decision. But was there enough grip and enough lap time out there for Kagoda and Lennart to make the difference on this one extra lap out there? It could make the whole difference on the result. And we've got Fico and Boss Cookie scrapping away here. Boss Cookie now into podium positions on his first ever start in SFR F1. But here come Lennart and Kagoda. This is the battle of the pit crews. Kagoda will possibly serve his time penalty here though. And both of them very careful not to get caught speeding in the pit lane. Boss Cookie continuing on, Tom. That is a brave decision if that's the driver choice.
That is very, very, very brave. Very, very brave from Boss Cookie. But yeah, I mean, lap 26, maybe this is almost a tyre decision, wanting those fresher inters, but is it past the crossover point? We're seeing drivers come out on track now, and ultimately Kagoda has dropped behind Relatorn, so the dream of a victory in that maybe slightly slower Mercedes falling away. Arjan now looking for a move. He's going to go up the inside of Kagoda. There's a little bit of wheel banging at the second corner, and Lennart seems to have a run now.
Yeah, both of them making the move on Big Sauce there. Another driver staying out on those hard tyres. Boss Cookie has got almost a 12-second advantage, but surely there's no way he can get away with this as FB comes into the pits to retire on putting on wet tyres, which was an odd move. I don't think anyone would have expected that, as Lennart and Arjan continuing their battle right where they left it. And Boss Cookie does come into the pits as we expected. It's looking like after all of this excitement, it could just be another Rillatorn victory here. Boss Cookie coming into the pits. Where will he come out? You'd imagine somewhere around 6th place, as there's other drivers still yet to make stops onto intermediates. And Arjan had a big moment there into the final corner. That's going to allow Lennart to get right up behind him once again. And this dream of a race win for the Alpines here could still be on. We've got yellow flags. And that's going to be due to a spin, I would imagine, up ahead of them. Or maybe that's where FB's car is stranded. Either way then, almost everyone now onto intermediate tyres. Test Will, the latest one to switch, and Lee Goat on the soft tyres still in the Haas on his first SFR F1 outing. It's been one to forget, and we've got a couple time penalties coming flying in there for Dan Edwin and Max Martin at pretty much the exact same time as Lennart makes the move up to P3 then, Tom. That position, that fight for third, still raging on.
It absolutely is, and we've got a battle raging for 5th as Boss Cookie seems that he hasn't lost too much time going those extra couple of laps as he forces FICO onto the green. Luckily for FICO, not onto the gravel, because that would have been a bit more catastrophic. Luke Mills still in the battle. There's a bit of a bigger gap further back. It seems that 8th downwards is maybe ready sealed, but Alex is just within those 3 seconds of Benny's penalty, so he could scrape a point. It would mean that we'd have the same teams scoring points as last time out, which would make for a pretty interesting outlook after 2 rounds. Boss Cookie, though, can he hold on to what would be an absolutely fantastic rookie 5th place? Kagoda, though, importantly, 1.6 seconds away from Rillatorn, and Lennart within those 3 seconds of the penalty that he has. So he might go one better than last weekend as Arjan tries to go up the inside. Was there contact? That was awfully close.
Yeah, that was a real tense moment there. Boss Cookie and FICO having their own moment as well and still going wheel to wheel. FICO looks like he's made that place up now as the Haas getting blue flags waved in its direction. DRS has been disabled, so now the race direction have decided it is officially a wet track, as that is the sign usually to make the switch on tyres, but everyone already made that decision for themselves. As you say rightfully, Tom, Kagoda's penalty could be very decisive here. FICO, currently the man losing out, he'll be hoping to gain a bit of time up on Kagoda here, but Rillatorn already 3.3 seconds clear. These conditions suiting him perfectly, and barring some sort of very rare accident by our reigning champion or some sort of technical or mechanical issue, looks like he's going to make it 2 from 2 here and extend his streak of race wins. Other than that, up and down the order, all is a little bit more calm now. We'll see drivers taking much less risks, I'd imagine. Vodka and Big Sauce on their recovery journeys into 6th and 7th. Not 6th and 7th, sorry, 8th and 9th. Benny holding on to that last points playing position, but does have that time penalty as Dan Edwin picks up another time penalty to add on to his previous one. And Lennart is now broken miles clear of Arjan. Arjan now with a time penalty as well for himself, so that will promote his teammate, and Ferrari potentially might look at swapping the cars here, you'd have to imagine, or actually what they might do is try and get FICO to hold up those behind him to get that advantage and try and secure more championship points for the team and the constructors. But Lennart now within a second of Kagoda, so this could be an on-track move for Lennart, despite that big moment into turn 1.
Yeah, and it promotes currently, well actually it doesn't, but it's awfully close, and it's Arjan. He has a chance now with, if Lennart gets that penalty, to possibly have a shout within the podium. All it needs is 1 or 2 track limit warnings for Kagoda, and he could well be within a shout. And you're absolutely right, Torin. It's going to be an absolute headache at Ferrari, because what do they do? FICO has now possibly, if he can shake off Boss Cookie, which, to be fair, he's been struggling to do with the pace of that Aston Martin, a shout at a higher position. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Luke has dropped off the back of those 2 battling. in 5th and
Yellow
6th.
flags. Sorry to cut you up there, Tom, but yellow flag, 7 Echo in the wall. No front wing missing. Oh, that was a dangerously close rejoin, but just about got away with it, and isn't like we're going to have another safety car. So it's now a battle for who can work out their mental maths quick enough, pretty much. Arjan and FICO quite close together on track, and FICO not really doing the backing up role just yet. I'd have expected FICO to drop back from Arjan here to try and back up Boss Cookie, because at the moment, Boss Cookie in with a shout of a 4th place finish. And actually, it's not entirely out of the question that Boss Cookie can end up on the podium even at this rate. Unlikely, but still possible. Lennart definitely looking like he's going to make it 2 from 2 here. Not what I would have expected. When I saw Lennart making the move to Alpine, I did slightly wonder as to what the reason was that he made the move to Alpine, but it looks like it's made off. I mean, you could never really question a racing driver's instincts, and this is yet another example of that. But further back, that's where the battling is still quite exciting. DRS being disabled does mean that 1 second gap doesn't mean as much, but when it's 4.1 seconds, it does mean a lot. Rillatorn once again showing why he's the reigning world champion here. And a 3-second time penalty then picked up for Lee Goat. He's got 25 seconds back to 7 Echo behind him, so I don't think he'll have to worry about what will happen there. It looks like his P16 is safe for now. Still a very, very good first outing despite the final or the current race position, at least as FICO making a move on Arjan. So no team orders down at Ferrari by the looks of things. Either that or they're trying to let FICO go off and chase a podium. But in doing so, Arjan could drop as far as 7th. So FICO really being given the team's trust here as Alex picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. And now I think that's about half the grid with time penalties, if I'm not mistaken. 7 drivers, so not quite half the grid, but still a good few. It's as if Fernando Alonso has gone to the steward's office after the race all over again. But Lennart hanging on in there, but crucially, Kagoda making some great inroads on that time penalty to try and give himself the best possible opportunity for holding on to 2nd place. Does need to try and find another 2 seconds or so over 3 racing laps, but he might still just about be able to do it as Rillatorn now almost up to a 5-second lead. He could afford quite a severe corner cut and still finish in the lead at this rate. Lennart, though, he's a racing driver. He's not going to let it be decided on penalties. He's going to try and decide it on the track. I don't know if the Alpine's got the pace, especially in the wet, to make that move. Kagoda will be ruining what could have been a top step on the podium, possibly becoming the lowest step on the podium. But it's still plenty of time to go here as Boss Cookie makes a move on Arjan. And that's not what would have been in Ferrari's script at all. Boss Cookie looking to try and get a top 4 finish here on his first start. And what a talent this American driver could look to be. He only just about had enough super license points to step up for Aston Martin here. But the Academy prospect looking at potentially some serious points, and oh! Around he goes there. Bit of a moment for Boss Cookie, but he's just about kept it going. And keeps in 5th place. Arjan behind, once upon a time the race leader. Now down in 6th, and with that time penalty, still holding on to 6th just about, but Luke Mills, if he can find a bit of time, would gain yet another position and some more points. Kagoda and Lennart now with the Alfa Romeo of K-Lot in the way of the 2 of them. As Lennart gets rid of the lapped car, and Boss Cookie looks to try and gain more points. But he'll be happy with that nevertheless. I'm sure Aston Martin will too. Big step up on last season for the Silverstone-based team. Rillatorn now with over 5 seconds of a lead ahead. And Tom, if you're there.
I am indeed. I've been letting you take it away. You've been doing a fantastic job. I did want to mention, though, whilst I've been watching, that Benny has now moved himself up into the points. He's stayed in 10th. The big difference, though, is Alex has not only gotten a penalty, but also had a little bit of a slip up on track. They were battling, but they had a little bit of a moment, and it went from being a pretty much straight cut fight, even with the penalties, as they've got the same amount that will be added at the end of the race. Looks like Haas then are going to score their first point of the season.
It does indeed. And what an achievement that will be for the American team. Great day for the American fans, really. I mean, a great new American prospect arriving on the scene in the form of Cookie. And a point for Haas. It's looking like Benny and Vodka, not Benny and Vodka, Big Sauce and Vodka rather, both still in the points after their recovery drives. And Kagoda has created some of an advantage as Dan Edwin racks up another penalty. But it's only going to be half of what Kagoda needed over Lennart in order for him to try and keep that position. So it's not looking like he's going to be able to on this occasion, but still a valiant effort from the multiple-time world champion Kagoda. But it's this man who's defending his world championship who starts the final lap here, Rulatorn. He's had some pressure. It's been like Abu Dhabi all over again. Pressure throughout, but the same outcome it's going to look like, at least, minus any Mika Hakkinen style issues on this final lap. Kagoda has chased him down almost the entire way. A 6-second gap now. I think after that time penalty, it became difficult for Kagoda to keep pushing in these conditions, perhaps to maybe suiting Rulatorn and the Red Bull car. Another great effort by Lennart. Oh, what was that? Sorry, Tom?
Yeah, FICO's challenging Lennart. This could all change on the last lap. FICO has cut the deficit to Kagoda, so Kagoda's going to be off the podium. FICO could get second here.
He absolutely could. FICO chasing down Lennart. This battle will go to the end, but the battle that hasn't gone to the end is in the lead. Kagoda with a chance, though, to hold on to second place. As it's a spin for Vodka by the looks of things. He's in the wall, so Vodka could lose out on those points here today on his recovery drive. But a driver who hasn't had to make a recovery today at all, Rulatorn, he's almost looked in command the whole way, even when he wasn't in the lead. He'll extend his championship lead here and makes it 2 wins from 2 this season. Rulatorn and Red Bull taking the race win. Kagoda will finish across the line in second place, but he won't hold on to it. That 3-second penalty will put him back behind Lennart, who sticks in third on the road. FICO coming home behind him to take 4th place on the road. It will become 3rd, and Boss Cookie with an incredible debut to take P5 in the Aston Martin. Arjan crosses the line, stays ahead of Luke Mills in P7. Big Sauce then, a recovery from the Mercedes man. Vodka somehow taking it from in the wall to keep P9 here. And Benny may well have done enough to keep a point here for Haas. They'll be hoping so at least. Alex chased him all the way to the line, but it doesn't look like it's going to have been enough. And Dan Edwin will cross the line after those two in P12 on track, but he'll surely drop backwards. With that 9 seconds worth of penalty, he's chased home by Max Martin. So Max Martin takes P12, and Test Will in the number 69 AlphaTauri rounds it out. But what a race that was, despite what might seem like an obvious result. Boss Cookie driver of the day, and deservedly so, but Lennart as well, worth a shout out. Could Alpine be in the title fight here, Tom?
I think they definitely could. I don't think it's out of the question. A great job from Lennart. He's proving why he is one of the hottest properties in SFR right now. But we've learned a few lessons today, Torin. Number one is the obvious, that Rulatorn is still at the top of his game, but also that Red Bull has some immense pace in the wet. But for those that are a neutral fan, it's not over just yet, because Kagoda's proved today that in that Mercedes, without that penalty and in the dry, he had a full and absolutely reasonable shout of a race win. I think it's going to be extremely exciting for the rest of the season. Those two Ferraris have pretty much constantly been on Rulatorn's tail, whether that's the qualifying, the sprint, or the race. And there's talent through the field. Boss Cookie, as you say, Torin, a great rookie performance, 10 points going home to the English-based outfit. And yeah, great job from Luke Mills as well, Stella Artois, formerly known. He came from 14th on the grid, as Boss Cookie came from 16th Also a good recovery drive from Big Sauce from 13th on the grid, and Benny from 17th to get Haas's first point of the season.